Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Digital Dialogues. I'm your host, Hyung, but my co-host, Amelia, is not here today because little flight issues. She's stuck at the airport, but the show must go on. So I'm alone today, but my
Hi,
guest,
I'm Siri. Nice to meet you guys.
maybe like a little bit more.
Ugh, what do I say about myself?
I
There's
don't,
not much to
it's just like
say.
whatever you find interesting about yourself. Give a little insight, you know?
What is there to give? I'm a high school senior. Oh, school starts in 2 days.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Hmm. So that's about it. I'm Asian, Indian specifically, which is relevant to this
It
episode. It
is.
is
It is
relevant.
very relevant.
I didn't mention that
Yeah.
randomly.
Well, y'all must be wondering why it's relevant, but it's because we're going to be covering Asian films, or mainly films with Asian leads in them. Mainly American produced, but we do have like one or two in there.
Right.
But they're mainly all in English, yes. So we're just going to be going through them, what we like, what we don't like, and kind of covering the plot also.
Mhm.
So yeah, I have a little list here of the movies that we'd like to cover. And the first one is Crazy Rich Asians.
Wow.
I feel like you have a more fresh memory of the plot, so you kind of give them a rundown.
Okay, so Crazy Rich Asians, again, like I mentioned, Asian leads, it's widely hailed in Hollywood for being like the Asian movie, like the year it came out. It was almost a full Asian cast.
Right.
So a lot of Asian representation there. Um, it came out very recently. It was a couple years ago, right? I don't
Mm-hmm.
think it was more than like 3 years. Um,
Oh, I think it's a little older than three. Yeah,
really?
like 2018 or something.
Oh my gosh.
It's it's
Wow.
crazy how time flies.
We were in middle school then. That's
It's
crazy.
a part of the past.
We'll move past it.
Yeah.
But essentially, the plot is there's a young Asian American woman, and she's a professor of economics, I believe, in New York. And she has this like really great, handsome like boyfriend. And he's like, hey, like, one of my friends is like having a wedding in Asia. Like, let's go. You can meet my family. And so, like, movie starts off strong and they fly out to Asia and
Yeah.
Singapore
And then I remember
specifically.
like that one part in the flight where she was like getting to like the first class part of the plane and she was like, "What?" Like,
So she's like expecting to sit in economy, right? But
right.
then her boyfriend like walks her past business class and takes her into like first class. And like, she's like, babe, like, this is really expensive. I wasn't like expecting this. Like, I just thought it was gonna be like an economy ticket. And he's like,
Oh my God. And then she's like, "Are you rich?" And he's like, "We're comfortable." That's what he
yeah.
said.
He's like, we're not rich. We're just like well off. Like we just like we're comfortable, you know?
That's really funny.
And anyways, the movie continues. She like flies there and she meets his family and it's like it's big, it's ornate, like these people are rich and wealthy and like it's Asia, so it's like a hub of culture and it's Singapore, right, specifically. I do believe all of the characters are of Chinese descent or part Chinese, or even the characters are meant to be of a Chinese culture, but they're meant to be like old wealth in Singapore. So it's like big mansions, like the parties are extravagant, like these are like the rich of the rich, like that's kind of the crowd she's running with. And she's like very much like a poor Asian immigrant who like whose mom came to the US, who like lives in like a small
Hardworking. Yeah.
apartment and like worked hard to graduate college and get her job and like obviously she's doing well off now, but like she's not coming from that massive kind of inheritance.
Hmm.
And I think the movie as a whole, I think it was well produced.
Hmm.
I think the characters were solid. It's based off a book.
Obviously, like it's gonna be a little cliche just because like
Yeah.
it was very like Asian Gatsby.
Yes, it was because it's based off an Asian romance book. So like
Hmm.
like but it's gonna be a little bit cringy, like a little bit heartfelt, like I don't know.
Especially if you have Aquafina on the cast.
So back to the plot.
I would I would say like it kind of once you get to the part where she arrives in Singapore, it's a lot of like the same stuff happening, like rich people parties, whatnot, the culture. and then like the wedding happens. But yeah, I just like he has a malicious mom.
So, okay, this is a big thing to me because from a book girl standpoint, the plot itself was very like it I did not like the plot of the romance.
Mm.
I didn't think she should have
Like she
gotten
put
with
up with
him.
too much.
Yeah, so first of all, your boyfriend is like, okay, here's the thing. I understand like maybe not being comfortable about how much wealth you have. Like understandably it's a touchy subject, especially when your partner is someone who grew up not well off, right? So
Right.
obviously there must be trauma there. There's like some sort of miscommunication.
Hmm.
But he quite literally outright lied about who he was or like where he came from. And when he brought his girlfriend home, he failed to give her an adequate explanation for how she should act. Throughout the whole movie, I think this was one thing. He brought her home at that time specifically out of like a manipulative intent because his mom was trying to set him up with someone else.
Mm.
And so it wasn't like oh, I really like this girl. It's high time that she meets my family. It was like my mom is putting me on the spot. Let me drag this poor girl with me to Singapore and like let her be my shield between me and mommy,
Mm.
you know? And it's like you're a grown man. Like I understand that your mom is like low-key a textbook narcissist. Like she needs to have control over everything. She wants to have like an image. But I don't know. I feel like using your girlfriend like that and not even mentally preparing her. Like, at least on the flight, he could have been like, I'm going to be honest with you, babe. They're really judgmental. My family's not great. Thanksgiving
Yeah,
dinner's
no, we
not
didn't
fun.
love him. But you know what? What I did love is seeing Henry Golding's face.
He is so fine.
Like, I don't know if I'd put up with all of that, but he is beautiful. He's beautiful.
No, he's fine. Let's talk about that for 1 second. When the movie came out, or like right after it came out, everyone was like, this is the Asian movie of the year. Like, this is the Asian movie of the year, right? And like, I didn't know much about it at the time. So I'm Asian, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's going to be so good. I'm so excited. And then I go to
It's a
see it.
Chinese movie.
Yeah.
I still felt like, I mean, it didn't even resonate fully with me. Like, just say it's a Chinese movie of the year. Like, I don't know. Like, all these like cultural like references, like, I didn't fully get.
Like, I think there was like a lot of references to like Lunar New Year. And there's that
Uh-huh.
board game that they
And
play.
like superstitions
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
like all
Chinese
that stuff. Hmm.
superstitions. The kind of parties that they throw are filled with that kind of references.
Yeah,
It's like the chipao. Is that what it
I
is?
have no idea.
It's like the traditional Chinese garments. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. So again, great that it's an Asian movie.
Hmm.
Great that we have that representation.
Hmm.
But white people were like,
In
Asian.
awe.
Yeah, the white people were like, wow.
They
And then they were
exist.
like, okay, you're done. No more Asian movies. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, even Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, like that just made me
I
so
forgot that we
mad.
were like supposed to bring that up. I didn't even write that down. Well, as an avid Simu Liu hater, like I cannot like vocalize anything about this movie in a positive way. Like just seeing his face angers me. Like his incel Reddit user background is like so funny because like that is so like classic
Asian
Asian like
boy, like,
background. Yeah, like I was like, oh my God, like he's every other guy.
yeah.
Not in a good way.
I mean, from an action perspective, like some of the fight scenes are good at the beginning of the movie, and
Hmm.
like it started
He's
out.
obviously physically capable of everything, but like
Yeah,
I don't want to give him that credit.
this CGI dragon in the last the last part of the film, I had to pause the movie and be like, is Marvel fucking for real? And the way they bring up dragons is not in like a this is relevant to Chinese culture. It's in like a I'm a white person and the only thing I know about China
Uh-huh.
is that there are
And like I need
dragons.
some action, let me just push one in.
Let me like put a dragon in there. I'm
They could at least try a little bit.
like don't.
Ways, okay, we've covered sort of Shang-Chi and then like Crazy Rich Asians. Those two, like we appreciate their existence, but we're still like a little iffy just about like
Like
what they've been labeled as nowadays.
I think any Asian movie is progress, but you have to wonder how much progress you're making in one direction
Right.
before you turn around and realize that there's like
Like
a lot of
we're
other
still
directions.
stunted on the inclusion part of these movies. So, yeah, personally, like out of like a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate both of those movies?
Shang-Chi
Or
was
actually 1 to
okay.
10, sorry, that's what we usually do. 1 to
Okay,
10.
10, 10.
And you can go to like the decimal points and whatnot.
Okay, Shang-Chi, I will say, 5 years ago, we would have never seen an Asian movie from Marvel or like with an Asian lead or Asian culture. So I'm gonna have to say like a 4, but it was not
Dude, I would give it
good.
like 4.3. I don't know.
Like, it just wasn't good.
I
Like, I
don't
don't
want
know
to
what
do
to
it any
say.
justice, but I just like
Like,
did
they
not.
did me wrong, and
And I also, and obviously, like we're rating out of like different factors, like not only like cinematically, but like, there's themes and personal bias and all that stuff. And that's
right.
why we're rating like this. Like, I swear, if you watch and you like it, it's fine. It's
I
whatever.
just feel like when I was looking even through the internet, the only people that were saying, wow, it's so good were like white people.
Or like Marvel Dick Rider type of
Yeah, yeah,
energy.
yeah. Like it was only those two things. And like everybody knows that that Venn diagram is just like a circle.
Mhm.
Like Marvel, Dick Rider, and white people is just like, it's just like one.
It
Like,
morphs. Yeah.
so definitely everyone was like, wow, like such a unique take from Marvel. Like, and then everyone who saw it was like, what the fuck was that dragon? Like,
But another. Oh wait, we have to rate Crazy Rich Asians. I forgot. Okay.
Crazy Rich Asians, I'll give it a 6.4.
Okay, I'll give it a 6.7.
This is where I'm kind of like because as a person I'm like break up with him, break up with him. But then as a woman I'm like, but he's rich, like please,
Sprinkle, sprinkle.
like I'm like rich boyfriend.
He's rich. He's Asian. He's.
But also, oh, that was another thing. He's Asian,
Yeah.
right? Like he's not even fully Asian. Like I understand he's objectively attractive,
He
and that's
is.
why like you want him to be a romance lead.
Hmm.
But he's been in so many other
Oh,
movies as
but I will make
romance
a point
leads.
though. It is hard to find tall Asian men. And I know they wanted that like masculine, like manly
That's
figure
true.
for this movie. And he does give like wealthy. Like you can't just cast like Steven Yeun into this like position because he's a short king and like you can't just see him as like, babe, don't get in between me and my mother. You know what I mean? Like you just don't see him doing that. Like
Please, like when
he's
I'm
like
not
the
asking you.
kind like neighborhood father. Like that's who he is. But Henry Golding's like
So,
bad boy, like Asian.
that's true. I just seeing him in other like the fact is, and I'm just gonna say this, he was like white passing almost enough to the point where he was casted in Persuasion,
Hmm.
like the Jane Austen movie.
I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like,
That movie was so ass. So ass. I watched it not even for Henry Golding, but for Dakota Johnson.
me too.
And I was like, what the fuck is this? I didn't even know it was a Jane Austen like book adapted. Like I was like, what kind of
Someone,
like mass media Netflix bullshit is this?
someone screenshotted her face and posted it on Twitter and was like, she just looks like she's seen an iPhone before. Like, you can't tell me that she's from like the
No, yeah.
1800s.
And also
Like,
like the quality was just like too clear. Like at least like
it
shoot it
was
in film or something.
crispy.
I was like, can you
Her
not?
eyes, like, you could see
It was
every
it,
line.
it reminded me of Bridgerton and like we all know Bridgerton is bullshit.
Oh my
So
gosh.
wait, can I touch on Past Lives real quick?
Yes. Okay. I don't know much about that one, so that one's your.
Yeah,
That was,
okay.
that one's,
She has not watched it, but I watched it twice. I watched it back to back too.
it's like a Korean movie, right?
Uh-huh.
I think Jiwon's recommended
She
getting to watch it a lot.
I don't think she's watched it though. She's like asking me how to watch it because I was like,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Basically, I watched it and like it's, American produced, American distributed, A24, but like the director is Korean and all the main characters are Korean. And specifically it's mostly in Korean. Like the main characters only
Okay.
communicate that way. And my input is so different from everyone else's who don't speak Korean because the dialogue itself I didn't like.
Is it like unnatural?
It was, but
Okay.
I mean, I can't complain because her character is supposed to be somebody that moved away from Korea at
A young age,
like
right?
fourth, fifth grade,
And like
then
came back.
and so like her accent is supposed to be like a little like there's supposed to be a hint of like foreigner in it, right?
Mhm.
But how they like articulated the way she spoke or I guess it wasn't like her choice because I think she's also the actress herself is American Korean, so like
Mm.
she is
Like
not
that's
like
just how
fully
it came
fluent
out.
either.
Yeah.
But whenever you're somebody who moves to America at like an age where you've fully developed like at least a way of talking and a good amount of vocabulary in Korean, you shouldn't switch your accent in a way. It shouldn't become Americanized. What you do is you lose a lot of vernacular and like smooth ways of speaking. But in her like part of the movie, she had like a very thick American accent. It was so thick. It was like you were born here, like I thought you were. And also the way she spoke, her vocabulary was so advanced at the same time. I was like,
Is it like an American accent over the Korean language?
mm-hmm,
Okay, so that's like something that I completely agree with you on that because
mm-hmm,
it's like as a bilingual person like myself and like you know too, it's like you code switch.
mm-hmm,
Like right now I'm speaking in an American in an American accent. Like if I wanted to, I could sound like Valley Girl, you know,
mm-hmm.
like I could be like, hey, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know, like you can sound like that. But then when I switch to speaking in Telugu, it's like you lose that accent
Mm-hmm,
instantly
mm-hmm,
because you know that's not what the words are supposed to sound like,
mm-hmm.
right? So it's like I would never put an American accent over like my mother tongue.
But it's weird for, oh, I guess I can't speak for everybody, but Korean, it's so easy to just slip in the accent on accident. And like, especially when you naturally speak English, it's just like so much more of like a crispy language. Like you enunciate things way more harshly than in Korean. It's like very
Mm.
smooth. And so that's when things can clash. But like, just she was using like advanced vocab, like with a thick accent, and I was like confused. But on top of that, like, their conversations were so like surface level that I was so confused on how they could be so like enamored with each other. You know what I mean?
Okay, okay. If you could like move past that, like
But
what would
on
you say
top
about
of
it?
that, when it's hard to speak Korean, it's also hard to probably properly tone something like catered towards how you're feeling, like your emotions. Like when you're excited, you're like, yay. But like in Korean, when she was expressing like anger or even like endearment, it was so awkward.
It was like the wrong
So
tone.
awkward.
I see. Okay, I see the problem because I think there's no way to have like a full-fledged good acting experience
Hmm.
when you just the tone
Yeah,
is
for
wrong.
instance, I'll give you an example. They meet back together for the first time in like 10 years at Central Park, and she like lives in New York and he's visiting. And they see each other, and there's this word in Korean. It's just like wow, which means like wow or like yeah,
Hmm.
like that kind of thing. Even as a person who's not even like fully fluent, I could convince somebody that I'm excited. But this bitch was like, wow, like wow. And then she was like, this is the corniest thing she said. She said, Noda. She said, Noda. Okay, but no one knows what I'm saying. Noda means like, it's you. Like, who the fuck? Not even in Korean. Like, no one says that. And that's why I fucking know that the script is written by a Korean American because like everything was not articulated correctly to where it's supposed to be natural and like a combo where you could dig yourself deep into. It's just like
So it's like he wrote the script in English
it
and then
was a she.
translated it to Korean.
It's a she.
Mm.
Celine
Well,
song.
we do like female screenwriters,
Hmm.
but it's like no, I'm thankfully I'm like the kind of niche Indian, and I say niche Indian delicately because India is now the most populated country in the world. So there are probably a
Woot
couple
woot.
there are a couple million of me out there, but
Yeah.
like I say this delicately, like my language, my mother tongue is so niche that like
Wait, isn't there a couple billion out there?
there's probably a couple
Yeah,
billion.
it's like 2 billion.
But the
Yeah.
thing is, like India has like around like 50 languages, 200 different like
There's a lot going
tonalities and
on.
like yeah,
Yeah.
so the language that I speak, thankfully I've never seen it on big screen in America. So I'm like I'm safe. Like I am not a
I just feel
victim.
like I have too much criticism for somebody that speaks exactly like her. Like maybe it's like the inner insecurities like
Okay, but you would
criticizing
also
her.
never delude yourself into thinking that you could be like the lead of a Korean
Never
movie.
tell myself that I'm that fluent to where I can like seamlessly articulate emotions and be able to have a fluent dialogue with somebody. Like I am humbled
Wow.
enough to the point where I know I'm not capable of doing that. Like no shade to the actress. I don't want to like cause any trouble. I'm just like, this is my personal thoughts. I hope this resonates with somebody because I told Jiwon this and I hope she understands, but she has yet to see the movie. I just want to have this conversation with her.
She would understand.
She would understand. And
also she would get it because as like she was
yes,
born in Korea,
exactly.
moved here, and
She
then
moved here in elementary school and she's so fluent and her accent is perfect. There's nothing changed about it. And that's why I'm so confused. Like,
yeah, I get that. In terms of like the rise of Asian representation, again, I'm gonna be really broad about this.
mhm.
I think it really began with Jackie Chan
You'd
in
say
like
that.
the
Or like
80s,
Michelle Yeoh,
90s.
one of
Yeah, yeah,
those
yeah.
two.
Like Cindy, like Lou, I think.
Oh my god, bro. Oh,
Get a couple movies back then though.
Guys.
No,
It's Lucy Liu. Cindy Lou is from Whoville in The Grinch.
there's another actress who's okay. There's Lou, but there's another actress whose name is Cindy. I swear. Google it right now. Show the screen.
Cindy Lou? Oh, like, no? Whoa. Ooh.
No, no. Okay.
Girl.
No, it's not Cindy Lou. It's just she's like in some movie.
I was like, hello? No, Lucy Lou's in like
No, Lucy was
Kill Bill.
Charlie's Angels.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There
She's
was another actress who she always looks this. She looks the same to me.
oh,
And
is it Devin Aoki?
I like Devin Aoki, but no, she looks like a smaller like she looks like a smaller version of no. There's like an actor.
Cindy Lou. Cindy Lou, her bitch. What the fuck?
So Asian representation. We want to start with Cindy Lou.
Thank you.
Shout out Whoville and Dr. Seuss for inventing diversity.
He really started it all.
Really, I think we need to credit like
Yeah.
Dr. Seuss. Like
Yeah.
that's really where it all
You
began.
know, like Green Eggs and Ham was like the start of everything.
It's like Cat in the Hat, bitch.
Yeah.
That was it.
Resonated with me.
That was that. Okay, but yes, like what you're saying, like Lucy Liu, like
Michelle Yeoh,
Yo,
Jackie
yeah,
Chan.
like, and then these are like older action
I
movies.
want to give Donnie Yen some credit. I also
Okay.
love Donnie Yen. But he is mainly in like Asian movies, but they're very good still, I feel.
Right. I think that, but like even when we look at those characters, so much of their presence is like just acting. It's like action or like humor,
Mhm.
right? It's like these Asian characters serve no other purpose other than to be humorous.
I
Or
think
to have a
that's
fight
why
scene.
past lives cause such a like controversy in the sense that like it's so serious and like we really see like a different side of like Asian cinema in American theaters. But I don't know, guys. Even like the closed captions like were literally like it was not a deep conversation. Even if you're reading the captions and everyone was like, oh. I'm like, what? Literally what? I don't even know. Am I a hater? Maybe.
I think you are like just a little bit.
And every single time I watched it, like it got worse. I will say the last scene is so heartbreaking, but that's because I'm a human. I would be an alien if I didn't cry for that scene, but everything else was just like. Let's talk about Everything Everywhere All at Once.
There's
Because that was like such a big movie.
a
So big.
lot to unpack there. I don't even know where to begin.
Mhm.
If we want to talk, let's talk about the plot because I don't even think that can be like
It
quantified.
can't.
It can't be summarized or explained. Like it
Mhm.
just doesn't make any sense. Like if you haven't seen it, I recommend seeing it because even if it's not your favorite movie in the world, it's like you recognize that it's a unique film experience. Like I can't think of a single other movie that reaches that level of like
Right.
crazy,
Mhm.
you know? But really the plot of it is like there's this woman, she's Korean American, right? She's not.
Mm-mm.
I don't remember.
Chinese.
She's Chinese. Okay.
Mhm.
I can't remember. It's been a little while. a year almost. But like, okay, so yeah, she's Chinese and she has like her husband and her like daughter, and her daughter is kind of like in her 20s, right? And like is like lesbian, like has a girlfriend, right? And like her dad, like the main character is like the Chinese American woman, right? Her dad is living with them, so she's taking care of him. And her husband, like their marriage isn't doing like so hot, and like kind of opens, and then her like business, so they run like a little laundromat and they like live above the laundromat. And then she like her business gets audited, right, by the IRS, and so she like goes to the local like office, and like she's going through all of her like tax audits and whatever, and like her tax lady's just like not very happy with her about the way she's been keeping records of stuff, and like things are just not going so well, like, and then it somehow turns into like
This quest.
yeah, it turns into like an action
It kind of
multiverse.
reminded me of Scott Pilgrim. Have you watched that movie?
No, I haven't.
It is freakishly similar in that sense of like suddenly it breaks out into this person like beating up other people in different universes.
Yeah, it was really like Spider-Man into the multiverse type beat.
Yeah, you could say that. I watched it a lot after Everything Everywhere All at Once, so
Yeah, so basically like her husband just is like starts fighting, and she's like,
chair's so bendy, like I just don't like it.
so her husband starts fighting and she's like, hello. And then he's like, I'm not your husband, I'm your husband from like another universe. And then he's like, if you want to be safe, come with me, right? And so then she like jumps universes with him, and like just kind of goes like, I don't know, she's like jumping universes, fighting evil demons and like that are escaping from other universes. And like the overarching demon is her daughter from another universe, right? So it's her daughter from another universe. And I don't exactly remember what like her daughter's motivations were, but I just do know that like that
Some sort of like revenge or
yeah, it's just like that daughter's relationship with her in another universe was like bad. And so she's like on a quest to like destroy like everything, right? And so then at the end of the movie, it's like about how she like saves the universe from like total destruction, and like she realizes that everything is like the way it's supposed to be. But like, and like obviously it sounds really nice when we summarize it for you like this, but you have to understand like in the middle of the movie, there's a scene where a guy like falls onto a dildo and it like goes inside him. And there's a scene
it's a
where
butt plug. It's a butt plug.
yeah, where he like falls onto like an award and it like goes
Yeah.
inside him, and then like her daughter like creates like a what was it, a bagel of destruction. There's like fucking bagel floating on the screen, and there's like a universe where she and her daughter are both rocks, and they're just rocks, and there's like no human life on this planet. And like she keeps jumping and jumping, and like there's a universe where her and her tax lady are in love, and like their fingers are hot dogs, and they like start licking each other's fingers. Like this movie is bizarre, right? And I think part of the reason why it was allowed to be so bizarre is because it's built into the plot itself that the way to get from like one universe to like
Another is like through
is
weird ways.
yeah, so you have to do some, I mean the science behind it is like you have to do something unexpected. Something that you in your universe you would never do. So this guy, like I remember the opening scene is like he pulls out a tube of chapstick, rolls it up, and he bites it and he swallows it. Like he swallows chapstick. And everyone's like, what the fuck? And then he like triggers his like abilities from him in another universe. So like him in another universe is like Jackie Chan, like mega fighter, right? And so he like gets his abilities and starts fighting. So it's like you just have to do bizarre things. So that's why you see like so many bizarre fight scenes. But I think it's like ultimately like the movie ends with like does she like
They like reunite.
yeah, so her daughter and her they kind of like get on good terms, or like decent enough terms, right? Like I mean as good as you can get after 20 so years of damage. Her husband, do they get divorced?
I don't remember.
I don't remember, but like she works something out, and like I think she's like constantly looking for her dad's approval. Basically, there's an end to the story, right? Like,
What I've realized with like talking to other people about this movie is like the opinions are very split. You either are blown away completely by it and relate to it, and it becomes so special to you, or it's just a weird movie that you watched and that was that.
so to me, I'm the first one.
I'm the second one.
Okay, so this is good. So we get both.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do agree. It was so bizarre that there's no spectrum. It's not like like it was both good and bad. Like, no, it was
Yeah.
good or it was bad. Like,
I think it's because like first of all, I didn't resonate with like the dynamic of the daughter and the mom because
okay.
I've always had like a healthy relationship with my mom. But on top of that, I don't like movies where there's too much going on
Okay, so this is definitely that.
because I didn't even love like Into the Spider-Verse or
Yeah,
the
yeah.
new one that came
You said
out.
it was like visually too
Like I liked
much.
the first one better than the second one because the second one was so much going on and it was
Visually.
amazing, but it was so much.
I couldn't even like see the characters moving
I'm
across the screen.
I'm a lover for very slow going, like dark plots. That's
Okay.
me. Yeah.
No, so I definitely related to that relationship that the daughter had with the mom, but also the mom had with everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of this like the mom has like I think I saw my family like reflected so much in this conversation, right? Like there's this daughter who's not quite Chinese, not fully American, doesn't fit in. She's struggling for like her mom's approval.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually she's like, fuck it, like I'm just gonna live my life and be happy, right? But it like kind of estranges her from her mother who can't possibly even fathom why her daughter would want to live the way she does, right? But it's like this inability to accept her daughter as like her own person and like of a different culture technically. And then even with the mom itself, the mom has like raging anger issues, right? And her husband is very like I'm just gonna hold it together for the sake of the peace.
Mm-hmm.
But then like he snaps, right? And he like hands her divorce or like she accidentally sees the divorce
And then
papers,
it just
right?
like
And then it
crumbles.
like crumbles from there. And her especially with her dad living with her, so the kid's grandfather like living with them and being supported by them. I also related to that a lot because now you're reconciling three different cultures and mindsets in one house with a family that's very like the father like was very traditional, right? Like I remember one part was that they were hiding the fact that the kid's girlfriend is like her girlfriend. They would constantly tell the dad that it was like just her friend,
Yeah.
like just some random girl that
Yeah.
they brought along.
One thing I want to bring up is like the Academy Awards for this movie.
Hmm.
Jamie Lee Curtis winning.
Everything Jamie Lee Curtis is in is like
No, I liked her beforehand. I still like her, but I was just like,
she's not
does
for
it
me.
not look a little bogus that like
You gave
Stephanie
the
did not win?
you gave the one white person the
I
award,
was like, that's odd.
especially for what was it like best supporting actor?
Yes, actress.
Well, the husband like got one, right?
She got it for best supporting actor.
Yeah, yeah. So that makes sense because
I paid so hard attention to like the entire Academy Awards lore this year. Like I try to watch all the movies.
you were ready.
I was stoned while I was watching the Oscars. And I
No,
was like so excited when they brought out the donkey because I love that movie and I was just like crazy.
I just like I can't. I don't know. Um, I remember. Okay, wait. This is gonna sound bad, but I think the daughter from Everything Everywhere All at Once has like a resemblance to Lana Condor from To All the Boys I
Like
Loved Before.
physically,
I think they have like the same face shape to me. Like they both have a round face.
if you were to compare her like to all the boys I loved before Lana, I would have been like, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
But
yeah.
they don't have like they just have like that baby fat look.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, they're
And I
both
get
really
that.
cute. Like they look cute.
They do look really cute, both of them.
I just think this movie was just like wow. And first of all, in that it was so openly bizarre and just weird and grotesque and like, why are you slapping people with dildos in the face? Like just openly, right? And
Mhm.
then so much of like the mom realizing that her anger is like such a big problem
Mhm.
and how she doesn't need her father's acceptance or like approval. And like I did like though. I did like this. I liked that as the movie opened, the characters were so unapologetically Asian.
Mm-hmm.
As in, like, it opens and they're talking in English, like broken English.
Mm-hmm.
They're talking in a heavy accent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, not apologetic about that. Or they communicate in Chinese and you just have to, like, read the
Mm-hmm.
subtitles, right? Like, there was no. I just related to that so much, especially because I feel like growing up when my parents had like heavy accents or like kind of broken English and like we're communicating with someone like else who's like from America, there's so much like shame around that where you feel embarrassed. You feel embarrassed that your parents like maybe don't know English as well,
Mm-hmm.
or you feel embarrassed.
Dude, my mom feeds into it, bruh. She's like, "You've been here for 20 years and you can't even speak like a regular sentence to my dad." I'm like, so,
Don't be mean,
like,
like
no.
like you just feel so out of place. And like when they're having that scene with the IRS, like that one also really spoke to me because like I don't know, it's just the part where
Oh, she was like, "You didn't bring your daughter this time to like
like you didn't bring your
translate."
daughter this time to translate and like
Uh,
and then she's like, "Oh, I don't want to like involve my daughter in this," or like and they're kind of just like
like if you can understand the words, like why do you need a perfect accent? Like it does not matter. Like I just feel like people like make it into a bigger deal than it actually is. Not like us, but like white people who react like, "Oh, so you're not very good at English, are you?"
yeah, like you're not doing so good. How long have you lived here again?
Like
Okay.
sorry that you can only
Okay.
speak one language and that's all your brain is wired to listen to. But
Like babes, like if you struggle that much, like let's just have this conversation in Chinese.
yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like
Hmm. Yeah. Like don't worry, we can make it easier for both of us. I'll just start rambling in Korean.
like
I don't know.
I did like it. I did like it, but at the same time, I don't think it was so crazy that like wow, like it was just a good movie. The relationships were portrayed in a way that was like,
It would resonate with anybody, no matter like
yeah,
which dynamic you looked at. Yeah. Yeah. Out of 1 to 10, where would this lie?
like a 7.8, maybe
I
just an 8,
really expected more
maybe
from
just an
like the
8.
high praise you give it. Okay. From a personal perspective,
Yeah, I'm gonna guess like 6.
it's a 5.3.
Okay,
It's just like I just felt so like isolated in the fact that like this was the movie for so many people,
right.
especially for the year, for like the last 5 years, people were like obsessed, but I just couldn't get into it. And I don't know what it was. It's not that it's a bad movie or that there was like not a solid plot. I just like couldn't get myself into the
hmm
movie. If I didn't think about it in the personal manner, it would be like a 7.6.
Like I think overall the film was produced well. The fighting scenes were good. The logic of the multiverse. See, that's another thing I hate about action movies is like or sci-fi movies. They always say something and then the logic of what they're saying doesn't make sense. But this time it did make
Hmm.
sense. Like this time I was like, okay, I see where
Hmm.
you're going with
And like
this.
the multiverse stuff, like it didn't feel like it was being shoved down my throat like other
Right.
movies. I just feel like everyone finds that as like a scapegoat for like newer movies. Like if there's nothing interesting going on,
Multiverse,
let's
like
make you 10 other people in different universes. I'm like, no.
Marvel.
Like let's stop AI generating plots for a second and just like think. I don't know. People are so silly. But it worked for this movie and it worked really well and I liked it.
I liked seeing it from. I mean, okay, in terms of Asian perspective, like it was good. Again, like unapologetically Asian, I like that. Asian American, so you could tell that it was like American, like there was kind of those hints of that. But what I think this is just something that like is like to me personally, not specific to everything everywhere all at once, but just in general. Why do the Asian characters always have to fight? Like, why is it always like an action movie? Like I think to
If you are looking for an emotional Asian movie about like family dynamics and whatnot, watch The Farewell.
okay,
That is very like the opposite, like no action, none of that. Like,
I just think like I just feel like they're like, well, Korea invented martial art, like Korea invented Taekwondo, like I'm like, be fucking for real, like, like
What is happening?
like no, like not all Asian people are like born built in with like samurai swords. Like I don't know what to tell
I'm
you.
not for sure. I can't touch my toes. Bitch, there's no way I'm doing a karate kick. Like, we are not.
Again, when it comes down to it, I love like the Asian representation, but again, I've never seen myself in mainstream.
Have you watched
TV.
RRR?
Yes, I've seen.
What do you think?
Who's the director? It's like
I've never
I don't
watched
remember his
it.
name, but he's like a big Indian director. He RRR for some reason hit American audiences, and it was not supposed to. Like I don't know why. Like my A-push teacher came up to me, like Brady was like, "Are you seeing RRR?" And I was like, "How do you know what that is?" Right? Because he's had like other hits in the past, like Bahubali 1, 2, and like those movies were very like, so it's like very similar to his style, action, Bollywood songs, like very masculine
Was it
leads.
kind of just like every other movie he's ever made, do you feel?
He's a style, and it's just kind of evident.
But like RRR in specific, you were like, why is this famous? Because it's kind of like every other
His
one?
last couple of hits were big, like
Okay.
hundreds of billions, right?
Okay.
Like his movies were big. So this was gonna be no different. Like I knew it was gonna be done well.
Okay, hundreds of billions.
Okay, hundreds of billions.
I was like, wait a second.
A couple hundred million.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe like approaching a billion,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
not.
yeah.
Like you know what I mean. So yeah, like it was good, but it was good in the same way that all of his other
It's not
movies are
gr- I
good.
mean, now that I think about it, like it's just a Bollywood movie. It's not American cinema with
Yeah,
like South Indian
I
characters.
don't know why that movie hit American audiences. Like I could not tell you why.
Yeah.
And that got me. I was like, when did the white people find out about him? And like, RRR over Bahubali? Like, please, like, just watch Bahubali. You know what I mean?
People need to explore.
Bollywood is getting big though.
Yeah, that's good.
But I was gonna say, like, again, from that American perspective, we haven't seen that yet. I think the first time we're seeing it is Never Have I Ever.
And that's for a different time.
That's for a different conversation.
Okay, well, I feel like we've covered a lot.
Is there anything else on your list?
Well, more like the time.
Well, you're gonna have to edit out some of these clips.
But I usually don't have to do that. Like, I usually don't do that. It just went on for so long. Anyways,
We had things to say. We had things to say. Let her do
we're gonna
this.
close up.
Okay.
Thank you, Siri, for being here. You gave a lot of insightful.
Do you ever stop talking? Do you ever stop talking?
I learned. I'm wiser now. Okay.
Me too.
Yeah. Well, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. I hope you liked our little Asian cinema ramble.
I'll be back if like audience ratings are high.
Mhm.
You know what to do if you like me. Like,
Okay.
you know.
Bye bye.
Bye.